Good morning, students. We have reached the last chapter of the supplementary reader. This particular story was not taught by me in term 1. This was the only chapter remaining to finish off the portion of term 2. We will be having a full portion exam in term 2. So everything has to be covered. And CBSE had cancelled Ishwaran the Storyteller and the Accidental Tourist. So this has been cancelled right from CBSE. This is not in the portion. So this is the last chapter technically which had to be taught. And the number is chapter 4. And the name of the chapter is In the Kingdom of Fools. Now, if I ask you a question, who do you consider to be a fool? I would say, though you are not here to answer, if I were to ask myself, I would say, the absence of wisdom makes a person a fool. Now, wisdom is not knowing what to do in certain circumstances, how to react, then you will be calling that person as a fool if the person reacted in a very inappropriate manner. But in this story, the dimension of fool is totally different. The meaning of the word fool comes to being ultimately foolish enough, and let's see whether this particular foolishness affects somebody or causes anybody any harm. It is believed that fools are so dangerous that only very wise people can manage them. Who are the fools in the story? What happens to them? In the kingdom of fools, so there was a kingdom of fools, both the king and the minister were idiots. So here the people living in the kingdom were not fools. The leaders themselves were idiots. They didn't want to run things like other kings did. So they decided to change night into day and day into night. They are changing the course of very nature, and just because they did not want to do what the other kings did, they decide to change what we do in night during the day and what we do during day in the night to be done. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night, till their fields, till is loosen the soil, and run their businesses only after dark, and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. So as the sun comes up, we wake up, we do our daily chores. But these people wanted them to do that in the night and sleep off during the day. Anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. So capital punishment was given to those who would disobey the king. The people did as they were told for fear of death. The king and the minister were delighted at the success of their project. Now this made the king and the minister very happy because whatever they were carrying out was unique in accordance to them. For you and me it would be foolish, but they felt very successful over here, very triumphant. One day a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. Disciple is a follower. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight and there was no one about just because they were sleeping. Everyone was asleep, not a mouse stirring. So not even a mouse was moving here and there. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep by the day. So even the cattle used to sleep during the day and used to graze at the night. The two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around till evening, when suddenly the whole town woke up and went about in its nightly business. So in the night they were active, so their business would be on. So if the whole kingdom came into action. The two men were hungry. Now that the shops were open, they went to buy some groceries. To their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same. A single tuddu. Tuddu is actually, you call it a rupaya or a rupee in South Indian language. Whether they bought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost them a tuddu. So it was flat rate. No matter what you bought, everything in that foolish kingdom you would get only for 1 rupee. The guru and his disciple were delighted. They were very happy because no matter even if they bought a very small menial thing or they bought a huge thing, everything costed them the same. They had never heard of anything like this. They could buy he said to his disciple. But the disciple didn't want to leave the place. Everything was cheap here. All he wanted was good cheap food. The Guru said, they are all fools. This won't last very long and you can't tell what they will do to you next. So Guru, with all his experiences, knew that the tables could turn any moment and the wrath would come upon them, and then they would have no this thing left, no option left. Anything it would cost their life also, then their lives as well. So he insisted on leaving the kingdom and going where the disciple was in no mood of leaving. But the disciple wouldn't listen to the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay. The Guru finally gave up and said, do you want? I am going. Do what you want and I am going, and left. The disciple stayed on, ate his fill every day, bananas, ghee, rice, wheat, and grew fat like a street side sacred bull. Sacred means, like in Hindi we call, Pujaniya is called. A bull is always worshipped by the Hindus. So he became very fat after eating all that stuff. One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. He tried to get inside the wall. He made a hole in the wall and he tried to get in from there. And as he was carrying out his loot, the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. So when he was taking away the possessions over there, so this wall, because it was weak, it fell on his head and he died on the spot. His brother, the thief's brother, ran to the king in complaint. Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, means he was carrying on his ancient business, that is robbing people, a wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant is to be blamed. Now he says, this robber's brother says, the merchant is to be blamed because he did not build a strong wall, and because my brother went in to rob, he got killed because of the wall being weak. He should have built a good strong wall. You must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this injustice. Imagine he himself is robbing things over there and still has got the audacity to go to the king and say that I have been robbed, my brother went to rob and this wall fell on his head. And now I want justice because the wall wasn't that good enough, and this particular merchant has to compensate for the loss, for my brother's life's loss. The king said, justice will be done to the robber, don't worry, and at once summoned the owner of the house. So the owner of the house was called for. When the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, what's your name? Such and such, your highness. So he says, my name is such and such. Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house? So he was inquired of whether you were at home when this thing happened. Yes, my lord, he broke in and although the wall was weak, it fell on him. The accused pleads guilty, and this sentence means the person who is accusing you is pleading you to be guilty over here because you were present at the time when this burglary was about to take place, and then you were an evidence, you are an evidence of the wall falling on him and he died. Your wall killed this man's brother. You murdered a man. We have to punish you. Imagine his own house being robbed away and he's only going to get punished. Lord, said the helpless merchant, I didn't put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him. So he says, now the person who had built, the mason who had built this wall, it is his problem because he was the one who did not build it so strong. So when he did not build it right, he is to be punished. Why are you punishing me? Who's that man? Who's that man who had built that wall? My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man, he is now an old man. He lives nearby. So that man was called for. The king sent out messengers to bring in the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him tied hand and foot. So his hands and legs were tied and then he was brought into the court. You then, did you build this man's wall in the father's time? Yes, my lord, I did. What kind of a wall is this that you built? It has fallen on the poor man and killed him. You murdered him. you have to punish you by death. We have to punish you by death. So now here comes again a problem. Now this old man will be held responsible because he did not build the wall properly. Because of he not building the wall properly, this burglar, this robber lost his life. Before the king could order the execution, the process of killing him, the poor bricklayer pleaded. Now he is saying, please listen to me first. Please listen to me before you give orders. It's true, I built this wall and it was no good. But that was not because my mind was not on it. So he says, while I was building this wall, something had happened which deviated my attention, and you need to listen to what had happened. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her ankles jingling, and I couldn't keep my eyes on my mind on the wall at this building. She said, I got distracted by that beautiful lady walking up and down with the ankles jingling over there, and that particular thing deviated my attention, and I couldn't build a proper wall. You must get that dancing girl. Now the dancing girl is someone, so she has to be blamed now. I know where she lives. You are right, the case deepens. Now the king is saying the case is deepening every time I call a new person. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated cases. So he is calling this case to be a complicated one in the very first place. Let's get that dancer wherever she is. The dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to the court. So she was now shaking, she was now old. What she had done, she doesn't even know what error she had done. Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him? So this is the question which is put forth in front of her. Yes, my lord, I remember it very well. So you did walk up and down, your ankles jingling. You were young and you distracted him. So he built a bad wall, has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You killed an innocent man, you will have to be punished. So here comes poor thing an accusation of this lady that you were walking up and down, that distracted him. Now you are the culprit. She thought for a minute and said, my lord, wait. I know why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was a lazy scoundrel. So she abuses him, say, a very lazy man, a very ill-behaved and lazy man. He made so many excuses. Said he would give it to me now and he would give it to me then, and so on all day. So every time she would go to him the same day, he would say, come later, you come later. So she would go back, come back again, go back, come back again. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. That was when this bricklayer saw me. It's not my fault, my lord. It's that damn goldsmith's fault. So she has got another scapegoat over here to put the blame on. She says, now it's the goldsmith's fault. How am I at fault? Because I was being made to run the length and the breadth of the road over there, visiting that person's place because I wanted my jewelry. So let's, in the next lecture, let's see what is the outcome of this particular case and what happens in the kingdom of fools. That's all for this lecture.